Alright, Megan Vonna, welcome in. This is Poteen and I'm doing another YouTube video. This time I'm doing Yellow Line Burger. Now, I did one a couple weeks ago. I'm probably going to go delete that one because I've learned so much more. This burglar is kind of unique in the fact that it doesn't really need stealth all that much unless you want to put a trick on multiple mobs. So that's kind of what gives the it's very unique and cool to how the burglar was usually played. It's not so stealth heavy as it is very trick heavy. So a lot of debuffs, a lot of weaken the mobs, a lot of basically debuff them so that you can do more damage to them. So it's very neat, very cool. So we'll go over it real quick here. Obviously, if you like this content, please like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions or comments, please don't hesitate to leave them. Also, I stream daily on Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube. So thank you guys so much. So what we'll do is we'll go through the trait trees, class traits. I'll go through the racials. They're not really big. I mean, sometimes they are. It just depends on what you're playing. And then I think for the burglar, I think there might be maybe some. No, I think daggers are good habits. I'm just playing a regular habit. Then I'm going to go through the virtues. Then, my LIs real quick, because I do make every LI uniquely to every build, to every trait class, or class trait. And then I'll go through the rotation. We'll try to clear this first part of the dungeon. If it goes really well, we'll try to go to the second, but I'm pretty sure I can't take the brothers at the end of this. I'm in the maze, which is a 6-man instance. And then I'll recap the rotation, and then I'll end the video, and that'll be about it. So let's begin. So the yellow line is called the Mischief Maker. So it uses devious tricks to hinder and harm foes. So the first points I got into which is Heartening Prank. This is obviously just going to increase my max morale. Opportunist. Now this is nice. Subtle Stab now does more damage. Stun Dust. This is a must for this build. This is going to just do a stun for one mob, but the nice thing is stuns in this game means you can continue to do damage to them and not break the stun. Comedic Timing. So this is my resistance to my tricks is decreased. Stealth damage reduction. So when I come out of stealth, I don't take as much damage anymore. That's with the rework, that's a new thing they have. And this one obviously increases that. So that'd be another reason why, like, with bosses or anything that's kind of heavy hitting, you might want to come out of stealth with it, but once again, not necessary at this point. Mischievous Delight, this is going to be your go-to heal. Also, now it heals the whole duration. So what this does is increase the duration of trick by 9 seconds. Yes. And that's huge. That's huge because that trick's going to be on for a long time, which we'll get into here. Thick Skin, this is going to give you physical and tactical negation. Vital Cut, so Exposed Throat applies a incoming healing debuff, which is pretty nice, especially when you start to get into raids, instances, things like that. Roll With It, so this is a neat one. Provoke gives you a stack of Roll With It, which reduces the damage of the next attack you receive. 30% roll with it damage. So this is, after I do my pull, this is my opening ability, which is Provoke. And the reason I do that is it increases my chance of crit, and I obviously want to try to get into my crit line as fast as possible, or crit chain. Okay, Improved Startling Twist. This is also another must too. This is like Stun Dust, except for this does multiple targets, 5. It stuns for 8 seconds too, which is awesome. Adoration, which is outgoing healing modifier. Now, Mischievous Delight is being buffed even again with this one. This is Complicated Terms, so Days Grace Period is increased. So that means, the grace period between days is obviously going to be a little bit better. Burglar Antidote, this obviously now removes stuff, but it can remove up to 2, which is pretty huge. Trip, I don't use this all too much unless I purposely want to take a mob out. But what it does is it breaks all of my tricks. And the hard part is a lot of these tricks I like to do are area effect. And every trick now does damage, so it will break dazes and stuff. So that is something to think about. So this is a pricey eye. What this does is small snag will spread, reveal weakness to nearby enemies. on a target with already suffering with small snag. So you can do this on multiple targets, but I like it best to use it the other way, which I'll show. Dust in the eyes. This is a daze, but multiple targets again. It's also, it needs to be a little bit closer, about 10-meter range. Cover your tracks. So you learn to cover your tracks. Max morale increase, physical mitigation, tactical mitigation is increased. Now, this is what makes the yellow line so very unique. The yellow line, instead of having like big fellowship maneuvers, now they have what is called a personal maneuver, and only yellow line gets access. So this is very cool. So clever retort is not a debuff anymore, or it's not a trick. What it is now is called a song. Now, why that's important is I can have a trick on the mob and still use clever retort and still benefit from that trick debuff. Why this is cool is you're going to come up, it's going to come up with a meter that has 3. It looks a little bit like a gambit line. But what you're going to do is whichever one of these you want to do, make sure you use all 3 of them. So if I'm going to use strength, it's going to give damage. Use all 3 of them, okay? Which you see down here. And you can pull the little yes, so you can pull these off. See? You can pull these off and put them on your lines, whichever ones you want to use. And once you get this filled up, then you want to pull this one off too. And then that's the one you're going to use, which is very good. So you're going to use, so what I like to do is I like to go red. Because I'm going to go Trick and Rage, which is going to increase incoming damage by 7.7%. But also what it does is targets are unable to use range attacks. That's awesome. They have to come to me. I love that. So that's why I use that. Also, getting that 7.7 increase is huge. There's also another ability that's going to give me a potential of weakness right there. It's going to give me 3.6. So I'm looking at 7, 11, 12.1% incoming damage with just those 2 abilities. Then I can start to use my personal maneuver, and it's going to do a crazy amount of damage. Which also, if you guys don't know, Sneaks, who hangs out in the Twitch chats, he uses this build with the red, just like the strength line, and it is gross. So that's what makes this unique. Now, I'll just go through them real fast. Spirit, it's going to give you, so once you get all 3 of them, say I use a Spirit 3 times. Then once I do a big one, it's going to have a big buff or power regen. Or if I'm using Conviction, it'll be morale regen. If I'm using Gall, it'll do damage over time. And Strength's the one I'm going to go with. And then when I do the big one, a Treant will come out and hit them. Conviction has the bird. It's like smaller but very personal fellowship moves. So that's my Trickster line. I'll show you the extra ones I put into here. I like the melee crit chance because I want to get my crit chain as fast as possible. Evade chance so I don't take as much damage. And melee damage, which obviously I want to continue to put this one into it and make it, buff it up. Okay, so we'll go through what is the side class traits here. Reveal weakness. Now, reveal weakness, before the rework, you used to be able to cast it on them. You can no longer do that now. Now, this is actually part of the critical hit chain. So, but it does have amazing debuffs on it. It's going to give you and Eva a buff of 3.6 incoming damage to them. So basically, it's a debuff to them, but it's a buff to us, if that kind of makes sense, because we're actually going to hit them for 3.6 more damage. And then their finesse is reduced. So, but you do need the crit chain line. That's going to be my opening crit chain. Okay, here is Small Snag. Small Snag used to be a trick consumer. Don't even worry about that. There is no consuming tricks there anymore. It's just about putting tricks on and debuffing. I love the changes a lot. So what this one does is if activated by Double Edge, also Reveal Weakness will also activate it. And if you attack the opponent below the belt, setting them off balance and increasing the damage they take further if they already suffer from exposed. So you're going to be doing more damage if you have exposed weakness on. Obviously, if you do it the opposite way, you put snag on and then you do reveal weakness. Anything and all the mobs that are around will all receive reveal weakness. Okay, so Mischievous Diversion, if you guys remembered from blue and red line, what it does is you can sneak around, you can use the diversion and flip them around, and then you can see their back all the time. In this one, it's no longer that. It is a buff now. So only in yellow line does diversion become Mischievous Diversion. It's going to let you enter stealth, which obviously lets you access stuff like Stealth Surprise Strike and Stealth Cunning Attack. So that's the benefit of that. There's a lot of those here. This one I don't really quite understand. I see the riddle cooldown and the riddle duration. I like that, but oh, I see. It's +5 to trick range, so I can increase the range and do it for further. This is going to be your big area effect debuff. It's going to lower their physical mitigation and tactical mitigation, but you can only have one trick on a time. So this does not stack with enrage because that would be gross. The other one, Trickster, now is changed to the same thing. It's going to be a huge buff to yourself, and it also lets you enter stealth again. And then the bottom one is Unseen Scheme. This is absolutely awesome. It is a huge debuff to the mob. And then you get a little bit of buff, and it also lets you re-enter stealth. So that is the class traits. Race traits we'll go over real quick here. Hobbit stature, obviously a little bite doesn't hurt you. A one-handed club and two-handed clubs is increased by 5%. Hobbit stealth, this is another one, just lets you enter stealth. Throw stone. I don't really use that. I'm not really sure why I keep that in. In fact, I probably shouldn't. Let's do this. Yeah, because that's going to be damage for gold, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, and then there is Hobbit Silence, which is going to be like a prone play dead. All right, now for your virtues. I'm obviously going to go dexterity heavy. I wear medium armor. If you guys don't know, armor is usually related to the stat you need. Heavy armor is going to be might. Medium armor is going to be agility, and light armor will be will. So that's kind of how that works, which I think is kind of nice. That's why they changed the Biori to might to heavy. Okay, so confidence, I'm going to go with critical rating on here, finesse rating, evade rating. My passive bonuses is physical mastery and tactical mastery. The other one is determination. Obviously, the agility is huge. Physical mastery rating increase and critical rating this week. And then physical and tactical mastery rating again for my passives. Fowler, I'm going to go with physical mastery rating, finesse rating, critical rating, and then obviously again physical and tactical mastery. Now the only reason I didn't go here is because I do get the crit, but I didn't go agility because I do like the evasion. This one obviously is going to be the same. Finesse rating is huge, critical rating, physical and physical and tactical mastery rating, and then obviously again the bonuses again are physical and tactical mastery. And then I went with this for the same reason, a little bit of evade. This is patience. So I got max power up, evade rating, critical rating. And then my passive this time is going to be morale. Because yellow does have a tendency to have to kind of tank or take a little more damage. Okay, so that is my class traits, my racial traits, and my virtues. Next, the LIs. Now, my LIs, this is just my yellow dagger. So what I'm going with in here is Herald of the Serpent. I want that agility. That's going to give me vitality and physical mastery rating, which is obviously the damage I can do with my weapons at close range. Then I'm doing single target attack damage. So single target attack damage, physical mastery attack. Now the reason I'm going single instead of area effect is I use my abilities to fight so that I'm only fighting one mob at a time. Okay, I think that is the best way to use this class. I think the stuns and the tricks are best benefited that way. Mischievous Glee initial healing, so 7.5 to my Mischievous Glee initial healing, and 28 vitality. So like I said, he's going to be a little bulkier, a little buffer than the other rogue or the other burglar classes I'm using. Trick debuff potency, so enrage incoming damage is increased by 2, and disable damage is increased by 2.7. And my finesse rating is increased. I don't know why I gave you the numbers because that's going to change, so don't even worry about the numbers. That'll change as you increase your stuff, so just worry about the last part I said. So trick duration and resistance penetration. So trick duration is increased. Trick resistant penetration is increased, and agility is increased. Also, I went with, at the end, empowered destruction, which is going to be a critical rating increase. Okay, so now for the tools. Same thing again. I went with Herald of the Serpent. I like the agility, the vitality, the physical mastery rating. Single target, critical chance. Once again, I won't single target again because I'm going to be handling these. If I'm not handling these in single target kind of moments, then I'm not really doing it right. So single target, crit chance, single target, crit chance, magnitude, and critical rating. Clever retort cooldown. Obviously, I want to use my clever retort as much as possible because it is the big damage load and it does give me the personal favors. So with that, Clever Retort is giving me cooldown, reduction, and agility. Now I want Clever Retort again for damage and healing, because as you can see here, I like to do the strength line and the conviction line, depending on how much trouble I'm in. I will go into the heal line if I have to. So Clever Retort damage is increased and healing is increased, and then incoming healing rate is increased. Now reveal weakness, incoming damage. So reveal weakness and snag, debuff, potency is increased, and agility is increased. Once again, I went with the critical rating um, increase on my bot. I can't remember. I think it's power. Could be word. It's one. I think it's word. Okay. So here's the opener. This is what I do. I do stealth, but I'll show you why I would stealth. So say in rage, it only does one target. If I stealth, it becomes sneaky in rage. And then I can do up to 5 targets. So that would be a reason why I would stealth. Another one is I would do it for the trip, and I would do it for the benefits of not being able to take as much damage when I first come out of stealth. Okay? But normally I just pull using enrage, which is weird for the rogue or the burglar. I don't stealth. I will pull with just enrage if it's a single target. Then I like to go down into provoke because I get that critical chance. And then I will go into surprise strike. Hopefully by enrage or provoke, I have unlocked what is my chain or critical chain line, which is reveal weakness. I definitely want to use that. Reveal weakness will open up exposed throat, which is going to give you a debuffs and a massive amount of damage. Then I'm hoping double edge comes back by then. If not, then I will go back down into my line. I will go to mischievous diversion, so I decrease extra damage. By then, surprise strike might be back, but if it's not, because it will make surprise strike become like the backstab strike. When it says that you enter stealth for a short time, being attacked will not break this. What that means is you can access those opening abilities that you would do coming out of stealth. So that's why those are kind of huge when you use them, because you can make Surprise Strike become Stealth Surprise Strike, which does a lot more damage. Same thing with Cunning Attack. Cunning Attack will become Stealth Cunning Attack. I'll just show you real quick here. See, Stealth Cunning Attack. So they do more damage if they're stealth. That would be another reason why you'd want to use Mischievous Diversion, Trickster, and Unseen Scheme. All right? Because you can actually do those in the middle of a fight and access these bigger hits. Hopefully by then I can get snag. If I do have snag, reveal weakness will give it more damage. So that's kind of what I'm looking for here. If there's multiple targets, I might go to counter defense, or I will stealth. And I like to use sneaky trick disable because that's going to decrease the amount of damage they do. And why I would do it is it would go up to 5 targets. So that's why I would stealth using it. So their attack speed is increased. Their outgoing melee damage, ranged attack, and tactical damage is decreased. So it works out good for that. They're not doing as much damage on it. I think that's about it. Now, if I do use these will open up into double. So my one that's gonna be the only one that does multiple targets is Flashing Blades. That's obviously much better in like Redline, but you can still use it here. But other than that, that's about the only multiple target damager I have besides some of the tricks or stealth tricks. So for my debuffing, or not my debuffing, but for my crowd control, I have a stun. This is a single target stun. I have improved startling twist, which is a 5 target, 8 second stun. You will see me use dust in the eyes quite a bit. It does do up to 5 targets. It debuffs them and it'll daze them for 15 seconds, so a little bit longer. And then Riddle can be used in stealth. Riddle used to break stealth. It does not anymore. But it is a single target daze, and it's a last for 30 seconds. So you will see me use that. I will rarely use Exploring Opening unless I have to. It just isn't one that's on my mind when I'm doing stuff. Then for my heals, I have Mischievous Delight, which is obviously going to be the one I use quite a bit. And then if I'm in big trouble, I'll use Touch and Go because this will give me 50% of my morale back. Also gives me evasion, physical attack. So this is kind of like your uh-oh button. Unseen Scheme and those I will use as usually when I get near bosses, multiples, things like that. But other than that, I'm mostly going to try to get into Clever Retort. So once I do all these, I will try to get into Clever Retort because I want to use Strength and then use my personal maneuverability once I get it. And I'll show you how it works on the first one. Well, we didn't clear the whole dungeon. All right, that's fine. That's fine. We can just continue. Not a big deal. I forgot to reset the dungeon, but I've already been in here because I like to test a little bit before I show people so that, you know, I don't come in here and look like a fool. But now I look like a fool the other. So first thing is I am going to... I'll just show you how I would do multiples real fast here. I'm going to do Control 9, which is going to be my stealth. I'm going to... See, I'm not going to daze. What I'm going to do is I'm going to collect... I'm going to do Control 3, which is going to be my debuff on all of them. Then once that breaks, I'm going to act to just control. Then wait for buff. Once again, if I throw on... There we go. That time I threw on... Enrage. When I throw on Enrage... So now I can just stun this guy if I want. Now, what I want to do here is... I feel like I might want to do Enrage, but we'll see. Because disable... It's not disabled, it is... Counter defense is good enough debuff that you can take out the rest of the mobs using it. So instead of like really debuffing them, you really want to debuff their armor so that you can do more damage to them. Now we will see a little bit something else here. All right, so we're gonna know that that's Enrage. Now Enrage. Another reason why I use Provoke is I can do it further. Now we're gonna go Control 4, and now you're gonna see me go 1, 2, 3, and then now that it's full, I'm just gonna use my tree line. Boom. Now I'm gonna actually do area effects done because I want to finish this guy off, and I don't want that stupid him hit me yet. Now I can do a personal stun if I want. But you can see review this is on there. Heal myself. Let's move on. Alright, so somebody's gonna be killed. Same thing here, we'll do it again. We're just looking for those crits. Anyway, the crits will show themselves as little light leaves above your head. And if he's gonna continue, let me do his crits over and over. I'm gonna use them. Same thing here. We will get ready to daze everything. We're going to do Enrage again. There we go. We can play it again. Now, let's see here. We're going to stealth, even though we don't really have to. Maybe not. Maybe not. Let's... Daze 1. There we go. We're gonna area effect stun everybody. We're gonna get Enrage on this cat. And then Clever Retort should be back, so we will probably, after this guy, we will probably, last true damage, if that makes sense. I feel like you understand what I said with damage. We'll put Enrage on, we will stun, and now we'll use Clever Retort to do the tree damage. Which is obviously, if we want all three of them. Boom. So it is a little more crowd control, a little more debuffy, but it is a very fun build. I enjoy it a lot. It might be my favorite of the Burglar lines. Same thing here. What we're going to do is we're going to start a 1. We're going to do this to 1. And then once they get closer, there we go. Now we actually get area effect. So we're all debuffed. But because I don't want to take too much damage, I'm actually going to stun them too. Go. And it'll be 8-second stun, which is pretty good. We got 2 up. I could go with them. I feel like I'm just going to go with 6 targets down here. But I still need to put Enrage on him so that he's taking damage. Now, I could have went back into my tree line, but I'm going to stay with probably this next stuff here. We're going to try to take the boss out. Here we go. See, Provoke you can do from range. Snag. And now this time I'm going to go Invasion, then the Diversion, Max MC. A little extra damage. Alright, let's do it. We have area effects. We'll heal and cleanse ourselves. Oh, we blocked my team. Alright, let's do this one. This one's gonna be a true. I debuff how much damage he can do. We've got an area for reduce single target. Yep. We'll wait. And then same thing here. I'm gonna do a little dust. Put a rage on. Okay, now if you pull here, you can pull this guy. Get up to this little pillar. So we're gonna stun. We're gonna do retort. You can do retort even more than cool down his fast. Look at that worm. Oh, I missed. Stun that worm by myself at the time. Now remember too, the tricks do damage now, so they will break daisies. So you do have to kind of be aware of that. Okay. Now let's try it this time. But why I don't really use stealth all that much is I'm scared of pulling multiples. Because that's what they do now. It pulls multiples. So it is better to go like the trip and stuff before you do that, otherwise you will be grabbed. There we go, I debuff. Now I'm just gonna kill this guy with a tree. Yep. This is obviously the last one, so it's gonna be a little bit tough. Alright. Watch out for the auras here. Alright. This is not what I had. Oh, we didn't even pull him. That's crazy. Same thing. We're gonna grab this worm. We're gonna stun him. We're gonna finish off the skeleton. Now, Cheerful Delight, like I said, to a Mischievous Delight, is not super powerful, so you're not going to want to do it all the time. Alright, so that was 8 seconds here. Alright, let's put this on. Let's put a bleed on. Let's do our retort here. Stun. My stuff's off cooldown like stun. Alright, so we got this cat now. This is going to be a hard one, because I have to... What I'm going to do is I'm going to daze him, right? I'm going to kill the other two, try not to pull him until the very end, and then try to keep myself alive. Which isn't always going to be easy, but we'll see what we can do. Alright. I'm going to pull him with this. Once they come out, I'm going to do area effect stun, because that'll just give me 1-on-1. Okay, we handled that. Alright, now we're going to put Enrage on. Now we're going to try to stay alive. How we're going to do that is using some of our skills we have, our stuns. Make sure Enrage stays on the guy. We got the light. Next thing is I'm going to stun him again or daze him. And I'm going to use my retort because I want to get this in. My tree. Let's get him down. There we go. We're down to green. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pull him over here. Try to finish him off. Or we have to... Get it. Okay, now we're going to use the light again. For this one, we're going to air effect stuff. We're going to pull one. Try to kill him by himself. Okay, let's just keep him. Let's do one stun. Oh, he got me. Oh, no. Oh, no. He got me against the hook there. Alright, we're gonna keep moving. Try to get some health back here. Okay, let's do a daze. Oh, there's poison everywhere. Obviously, I need to hide. I need to get touch and goes. Got it. Now it's over. Go. Same thing here. Let's do a date. We gotta provoke. We gotta. It's over. All right. First guy's over. That was obviously a bit. That did not go as planned, but as you saw, yellow does have a little more survivability. I guess, I don't know. Do you feel like we should try the next one? Let's just kill a few and then we'll move on. I'm hoping this is an increase. It is. That happened last time, too. Alright. Same thing here. We're gonna start. Alright. This we're gonna area effect stun because we want to make sure that worm's out. We don't want to really fight two at a time. We're not good at it. Alright, here we go. Alright, area effect stun. Once again, I got enrage on. So. Let's do this one here. Single target stun. Oh, he resisted it. Alright, you're dazed. That's around like that. Alright, let's put that back on. Weakness. Enrage. Alright. Enrage is on. I do use diversion in there just so I'm taking less damage. Okay. Now you can't, like I said, you can pull stealth, but I don't suggest it. Just because it does area, you know the target's by himself. Oh, okay, this thing. We'll do this. We'll do a little daze just to buy ourselves a little bit of time. Because we want to try to get some of our stuff off the cooldown. Diversion. And all your heals, they come back fast. Not really like you can't use touch and go and stuff. Alright, let's do a daze. Dazes last longer, which gives me time for all my cooldowns to come off and debuffs. We're gonna try to cleanse ourselves because we're poisoned. Because that's what the big worms do. I think I'm just gonna fight my way to the last two guys. I know I can't take it. Not with this build. And when like all my abilities are on cooldown, I do have a tendency to stun people, just because I don't want to be taking damage when I do. So I will stun or daze when I don't get it. But you want to live up in the chain those crit lines again. And you want to make sure you get a trick on them before you start fighting. Every time. It's definitely got it. And my durations do last a bit longer with my skills. Okay, so same thing's gonna happen here. Because some worms are gonna come. It's gonna be nasty. I'm gonna wait for my big days to come up, my area effect days, so I can use it. Alright, here we go. A little bit further than that. There we go. Can't see you. There we go. Area effect stun. This guy I'm gonna daze or stun. This one I'm gonna put trick on and try to bust it. This guy I'm gonna put in rage on. Just start whittling him down. I feel like he's gonna spawn now. He's gonna spawn. And whenever my crits come up, I want that reveal weakness up. Then I'll go back down. I had a feeling. I had a feeling he had a worm on. Same thing, gonna go get that rage on him. But you can still play him the other way. Now this is gonna be gross. This is one of the worst pulls in the game. Well, not in the game, but in this dungeon. It is 3 of them. I don't know if you guys know, but the rights that are much higher level, they spawn a worm, especially when you get above the level of the maze. That's how they increase the level of it to make it harder for you, the difficulty of it. And this one, all 3 of them do that. So I hate it. I hate it a lot. So what I'm gonna do is, I think I'm gonna do this. I'm going to that's the thing. I think I'm gonna debuff them all. Then daze one of them. Dust the other ones. Pull one of them out. And hope this works. The other ones, I can keep him pretty much dazed the whole time. I have to. This one, I'm not going to try to stun. I'm going to try to finish this cat. There's the worm. Alright, here's the... I guess we'll just take this cat. Cheers light. Gonna get crazy here. I'm not too confident. This is okay, one of you's getting dazed for sure. Stun. I mean, this is tough. Tough. But this guy's still got a worm he's got. Alright. Whew. Stays. Okay, here we go. Let's get our tree out. There we go. I stopped doing this well. Oh, he tried there at the end. All right. So I would say that's the most difficult hole here. Like I said, I knew it before we did it that it was gonna be bad. This is the last guys here. This is their little chamber, but I'm not gonna mess with them because I'm not. I just don't want to. All right, I know I won't be able to. That was hard enough bowling. All right, so let's go over rotation one more time. So, like I said, I like to pull. I like to open with either trick and rage, or if I have to, sneak and trip. But also, I don't mind using sneak in order to turn disable trick and rage into 5 target debuffs. This one's automatically a 10 target debuff. It's an awesome one, so I will sometimes choose to pull with that instead of this, just depending on how many people there are. Like that last one, I went into stealth. I actually riddled one. I actually debuffed them all with disable, then went to riddle. I probably would have been better off doing counter defense. I think debuffing to do more damage is the go-to with yellow line. So I do. Those are the two openers I like to do. Then after I use Rage, this has obviously got a 35 meter. Provoke has a 15 meter, so you can actually do it a little bit harder, a little bit further away than all the other attacks. And the next one's likely to be a crit. So why I do that is I want to get up to weakness, reveal weakness whenever I can, because with Enrage, 7.7% increased damage, and with Reveal on, add another 3.6% incoming damage. That is what 12% more damage. That's absolutely awesome. Reveal Weakness will open up Exposed Throat, which is another follow-up one that's awesome in the crit chain line. And then I'm also trying to get Double Edge happen and Small Snag. If Reveal Weakness is on the mob and Small Snag hits it, it'll actually hit it for big power. Anytime this comes up, I'm running the chain. I'm running this crit chain. If it's not, then I'll go provoke. I'm trying to get the crit to happen with Surprise Strike. Then I like to go into Mischievous Diversion, just so less incoming damage is coming, but also I enter stealth for a little bit, and it makes my bleed a little bit longer, and my physical and tactical mitigation debuff. Then Subtle Strike is out; it's going to hit for more, but also what it does is pretty cool. It'll give me a little power, which is it's nice and beneficial. If I'm pulling one, I like to go with Enrage. If I'm pulling multiples, I like to go with counter defense. If I feel like things are just hitting me a little too long, I will go with Disable, but I don't use it all that much. Once again, I want to use the tree line as much as possible, so I'm using Clever Retort, and then I'm going damage 3 of them, and then once I get to 3 of them, if I use Personal Maneuver, I'll get that big tree and doing damage. You can do the same thing with Conviction, which you did not see because I didn't feel like I was in any real danger. Maybe with the first boss room, but the reason I didn't is I had to keep moving, and I just waited for these to come back. There is some crowd control. There's actually a lot of crowd control. So Stun Dust is a single target stun, 5 seconds. And Improved Startling Twist is a 8-second stun up to 5 targets. What's nice about the stuns is you can damage them through stuns because it won't break with damage. Dazes are the opposite. They last much longer, but if you hit them, you're going to break the daze. So use that whenever you need to and when you feel like it's beneficial to you. Dust in the eyes, it's only got 10-meter range, but it will daze up to 5 targets. That's a really, really nice ability. Riddle is one of my favorite starting dazes. It does 30 seconds, but also you can do this in stealth now. But remember, if you are stealth, these Enrage and Disable, they become multiple target. And every one of these, they do damage, so know that they will break dazes and be careful. Like I said, I didn't really go into Flashing Blades because these are so beneficial. I don't really get into double targets. I'm really using my crowd control to go one-on-one. Another one is Mischievous Delight. This is the heal I use the most. It's little, does restore a little bit of power, but it's nice just to have it in between fight or during fights and stuff. Touch and Go is going to be your OO button. Try to use it when you need to. It does do 50% morale increase. There is my cleanser, which is Burglar's Antidote. You didn't see it this time, but I do Finding Footed. This is the thing that's going to break dazes, stuns, roots, things like that. It also does trigger a Fellowship Mover, but it's not really that important to kind of Fellowship. Trickster and Unseen Scheme. These are the buffs, debuffs, but they also let you enter Stealth, which is going to let you access the bigger abilities of these. So that is about it. I did not use Exploit Opening. This is another stun. It's 5 seconds, but you can't always use it all the time. So I don't. I use it sparingly, or if I really, really have to. Other than that, I think that's about it. So as always, if you enjoy this content, do not forget to like and subscribe. It helps me a ton. You can catch me on Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube. I stream EverQuest live on Sundays and Mondays. I've started to stream Tales of the Shire this week. I'll be doing that on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and that's going to be going on for quite a while until I feel like I'm done with it, or I've sucked all the fun out of it. I really do enjoy it. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I have single streams, and Saturday I actually have a double header. And from 7 to 9, I do the official LOTRO stream, Poteen's Saturday Taterama. So go join me there on the LOTRO stream. And then after that, from usually 10 to midnight, I will be on my own personal stream. So please go check all that out. I think that's about it. Also, if you do those streams, when we hit goals, we do Teletubby stream, we do a Tater stream, and a Care Bear stream where I dress up and we have custom music for it. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, leave it in the comments. Otherwise, I will see you guys again in the next Lord of the Rings video that I do. And until then, may the hairs on your toes grow ever longer. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting.